The Dead Marshes stand as one of Middle-earth's most haunting locations. Even the most steadfast adventurers, such as Frodo, Sam, and Gollum, tread carefully through its fetid waters. But why do the Dead Marshes evoke such deep unease? To unravel this mystery, we must delve into its history, the role of the ring, and the lingering power of evil that permeates the landscape. The Marsh's origin is tied to the great battle fought in the Second Age, around the year 3434, during the War of the Last Alliance. The armies of elves and men, led by Gil-galad and Elendil, faced Sauron's forces on the vast plain of Dagor-lad at the gateway to Mordor. Over centuries, the battlefield sank into the expanding marshland, swallowing the dead. While such burial grounds might eventually fade into peaceful solemnity, the Dead Marshes remained a site of profound terror. The cause? The enduring corruption of Sauron's influence. The One Ring, even after Sauron's defeat, retained his malevolent essence. This influence seeped into the land, preventing the spirits of the fallen from finding peace. Instead, they lingered, their forms visible beneath the waters, shimmering like ghostly apparitions. A warning and a trap for unwary travelers. One of the most unsettling features of the Dead Marshes is the dead faces that Frodo and Sam witnessed floating below the murky water. These spectral visages are not mere corpses. Tolkien describes them as pallid, haunting, and glowing faintly in the dim light, a horrifying blend of physical remains and lingering spirits. Gollum, a creature intimately acquainted with the marshes, warns Frodo and Sam not to follow the lights or look too long at the faces. His fear suggests a malevolent presence, capable of ensnaring the living. The candles of corpses, as Gollum calls them, can symbolize the allure of despair and death, a theme that Tolkien often explored. The ring, carried by Frodo, amplifies the marsh's malevolence. As Frodo peers into the water, the temptation to succumb to the visions mirrors the psychological burden of bearing the ring. The marshes thus become a psychological battleground, where both external and internal evils prey upon the living. The unnatural state of the Dead Marshes reflects Sauron's enduring corruption of Middle-earth. Just as he twisted the orcs and desecrated forests like Mirkwood, the marshes became a physical manifestation of his malice. The mingling of the dead with nature creates an atmosphere of decay and horror. The stagnant waters, the rotting reeds, and the eerie silence amplify the pervasive unease. Even centuries after the battle, the land refuses to heal, a testament to the lingering scars of war. The One Ring, as a conduit for Sauron's will, influences the perception of the Dead Marshes. When Frodo, the ring-bearer, gazes into the waters, the spectral faces beneath seem to exert a hypnotic pull, threatening to draw him into their murky depths. This interaction suggests that the ring amplifies the marsh's natural gloom, attuning Frodo's senses to the spiritual corruption embedded in the land. The ring magnifies fear, despair, and vulnerability, making the marshes feel alive with a sinister will of their own. Gollum, who once bore the ring, exhibits an uncanny familiarity with the marshes, which he uses to guide Frodo and Sam. His discomfort, however, reveals the latent danger. Gollum's cryptic warnings, "Don't look at the lights," show that even one as desensitized as he is, not immune to the marshes' draw. Gollum's presence ties the eerie atmosphere of the marshes to the greater power struggle of Middle-earth, with the ring serving as a focal point of its corruption. The Dead Marshes' eerie quality lies not only in their association with death, but in the way they seem to hold on to it unnaturally. Unlike a graveyard, where the dead are memorialized and at rest, the marshes trap their victims in limbo, unable to fade into history. This eternal stagnation reflects the influence of Sauron and the war that ravaged the land. While the marshes expanded naturally over centuries, the way they absorbed the battlefield's essence, bodies, spirits, and memories, points to an unnatural influence. Tolkien's narrative suggests that the marshes are a cursed place, imbued with a dark magic that defies the natural cycle of decay. The faces beneath the water are neither fully alive nor truly dead, existing in a spectral state that mirrors the influence of Morgoth's taint upon Arda itself. This concept is rooted in Tolkien's broader mythos, where the physical world often bears the scars of spiritual conflict. Just as Angband corrupted the North, the Dead Marshes stand as a grim reminder of the War of the Last Alliance. Tolkien's portrayal of the Dead Marshes serves as a poignant reflection on the lingering impact of war. The marshes' grotesque beauty, with their faintly glowing lights and ghostly reflections, symbolizes how war leaves an indelible mark on the land and its people. The waters are stagnant, choking the life out of the land, and the faces beneath are a chilling reminder of the lives lost in the pursuit of power. This theme resonates with Tolkien's personal experiences in World War I, where the horrors of battlefields like the Somme left physical and emotional scars. The Dead Marshes evoke the same sense of desolation, a wasteland where the dead remain as haunting echoes of a violent past. The idea of unhealed wounds permeates both the land and its history, capturing the deep sorrow and futility that accompanies great conflicts. The Dead Marshes also serve as an intersection of death and nature, where neither realm is at peace. While the marshes teem with life, gnats, flies, and stagnant waters, they are poisoned by the malevolence of their history. This interplay creates a chilling harmony of beauty and horror. The flickering lights that Frodo and Sam see might be will-o'-the-wisps, natural phenomena reinterpreted through the lens of a tainted world. Yet in Tolkien's mythology, these lights likely stem from the spiritual realm, suggesting a more sinister origin. The Dead Marshes, with their haunting stillness and spectral faces, are not an isolated phenomenon within Middle-earth. They are part of a broader tapestry of desolation and decay, each location embodying a unique aspect of the struggle against evil. These thematic connections deepen our understanding of Tolkien's vision, showing how corruption, war, and sorrow leave enduring scars on both the physical and spiritual landscapes. The proximity of the Dead Marshes to Mordor is no coincidence. As Frodo, Sam, and Gollum traverse the marshes, the looming influence of Sauron is palpable. Mordor itself is the ultimate representation of desolation, a land where even the natural processes of life are subverted by darkness. Like the wasteland surrounding Mount Doom, the Dead Marshes stand as a testament to Sauron's corrupting touch, a place where the natural world succumbs to spiritual and physical decay. Both regions demonstrate Tolkien's recurring theme of evil's pervasive influence. Just as the fires of Mount Doom reshape the land into an uninhabitable wasteland, the Dead Marshes transform the aftermath of war into a perpetual nightmare. These parallels reinforce the idea that the spread of Sauron's power leaves no corner of Middle-earth untouched, even long after his apparent defeat. The Paths of the Dead, a dark and foreboding realm in the White Mountains, share eerie thematic ties to the Dead Marshes. Both locations are haunted by those who cannot find peace, one by the Oathbreakers cursed by Isildur, and the other by the unquiet spirits of the fallen in the Battle of Dagor-Lad. In both cases, death is not a release but a prison, binding the dead to the land they once inhabited. The marshes differ, however, in their connection to Sauron's malice. While the Oathbreakers are cursed by their own broken oaths, the spirits of the Dead Marshes are trapped through no fault of their own. This distinction highlights the indiscriminate cruelty of war and the unique horror of the marshes, a liminal space where death becomes a trap rather than a transition. Mirkwood, the once thriving forest corrupted by the necromancer Sauron in disguise, serves as a forested counterpart to the marshes. Where the marshes stagnate in waterlogged decay, Mirkwood rots in shadowy overgrowth. Both locations demonstrate Tolkien's belief that evil is not merely a force of destruction, but one that actively taints and distorts the natural order. The waters of the Dead Marshes are choked with death, just as Mirkwood's trees suffocate under the weight of webs and darkness. These locations also highlight the enduring struggle against evil in Tolkien's world. While the elves of Lothlorien and the Woodland Realm actively resist Mirkwood's corruption, no such guardians exist for the Dead Marshes. This absence raises questions about whether the marshes could have been restored if they had been similarly protected. Throughout Tolkien's legendarium, battlefields are often depicted as places of lingering sorrow. From the Gladden Fields, where Isildur met his end, to the fields of Pelennor, the scars of war are not easily healed. Yet the Dead Marshes are unique in their transformation into a haunted wasteland. They reflect the idea that some wounds, particularly those inflicted by Sauron, are too deep to heal entirely. This lingering darkness serves as a reminder that the cost of resisting evil is not only paid in lives, but also in the lasting scars on the land itself. The Dead Marshes are a somber monument to the tragedy of the Second Age, their eerie beauty ensuring the memory of Dagorlad's fallen will never be forgotten. The Dead Marshes, with their ghostly lights and lingering dead, appear as a tragic inevitability in Tolkien's Middle-earth. Yet, their desolation was not preordained. Could this cursed place have been cleansed and restored? By examining the Marsh's transformation, we can explore alternative outcomes and what might have been done to prevent their eerie fate. In the aftermath of the Battle of Dagorlad, the free peoples of Middle-earth achieved a monumental victory. The siege of Barad-dûr ultimately led to Sauron's defeat, yet the battlefield itself was left to its fate. Unlike Minas Tirith or Rivendell, the Marshes received no care or restoration. This neglect allowed decay and corruption to fester unchecked, resulting in the spectral landscape Frodo and Sam encountered millennia later. Had the free peoples turned their attention to reclaiming Dagorlad, perhaps by burying the dead or cleansing the waters, the Marshes might have remained a battlefield rather than becoming a haunted swamp. The elves, with their deep connection to nature and ability to heal the land, as seen in Lothlorien, were uniquely equipped to counteract the Marsh's corruption. A concerted effort to restore the land after the war might have prevented the spirits of the dead from becoming trapped. One of the most significant challenges to reclaiming the Dead Marshes lies in the enduring power of Sauron's malice. The battle itself was fought near Mordor, a land inherently tainted by his presence. Even after his defeat, remnants of his will lingered in the One Ring and in the land he had ruled. This pervasive corruption acted as a kind of poison, infusing the Marshes with an unnatural aura that would not easily fade. If the Marshes were to be saved, this corruption would first need to be purged. The cleansing of Dol Guldur after the War of the Ring led by Galadriel provides a precedent. Her ability to cast down the Necromancer's fortress and purify Mirkwood demonstrates the potential for similar intervention. Had such an effort been made in the Second Age, the Dead Marshes might have been reclaimed. The scouring of the Shire at the end of the Third Age offers another model for restoration. After Saruman's brief reign of terror, the Hobbits' determination and resilience allowed them to rebuild their homeland, undoing much of the damage inflicted. While the Shire's plight was far less severe than that of the Dead Marshes, the Hobbits' example illustrates the power of collective effort to heal even a deeply wounded land. Applying this principle to the Marshes, a coalition of elves, men, and perhaps even Ents could have worked to restore the region. The Ents, with their affinity for water and ability to transform the landscape, might have guided the Marshes back toward a state of natural balance. Ultimately, the Dead Marshes serve as a reminder of what happens when war is fought without heed for its aftermath. If the Free Peoples had made efforts to honor the fallen and cleanse the land, the Marshes might have become a site of solemn beauty, much like the Barrow Downs before their corruption. However, the lack of intervention allowed Sauron's malice to take hold, creating a permanent scar on Middle-earth. By envisioning what might have been, we are reminded of the cost of neglect and the enduring impact of evil. The Dead Marshes, with their eerie beauty, stand as a testament to the importance of healing not only the wounds of the living, but also the scars left on the land itself. The Dead Marshes are more than a haunted wasteland. They are a symbol of war's lasting consequences and the resilience required to overcome evil. While their eerie nature is firmly rooted in Tolkien's vision, imagining their restoration offers a hopeful glimpse into Middle-earth's potential for renewal.